In this video, we are going to do hands-on demo using one-shot prompting technique. So, using one-shot prompting technique, we can get better results than from zero-shot prompt engineering technique. So, actually, in one-shot prompt engineering technique, we use one example to guide the AI model. Hence, we may get better accuracy than comparing to zero-shot prompt engineering technique, and also it gives some clarity to an AI model about the intent in the prompt. So using zero one shot prompting technique, we can perform many tasks like what we done in zero shot, like sentiment classification, language translation, etc. But here the thing is, you are going to give exactly one example which guides the model understand the intent and patterns for the task that you are expecting. So let's start with one shot prompting for a sentiment classification task. First, we give the model one example and then ask it to classify another sentence. So let's consider the complete prompt. So here in complete prompt we have one example which is sentence, the food was amazing and the service was great, and here we sentiment it as a positive. So actually this is an example. So now classify this sentence. So here now classify this sentence is an instruction component in this prompt. So actually these two lines were example component in this prompt, this is an instruction component in the prompt, and this is input data component in the prompt, where input data component is the staff was rude and the place was dirty. So here the complete prompt is example sentence, the food was amazing and the service was great, and we given sentiment as positive. Now classify this sentence, the staff was rude and the place was dirty, and we given output data component. Right here we given output data component also to expect direct output from the AI model instead without any explanation. So here we gave one example of how a positive review looks. So then the model used that style to classify the next sentence. So this is one shot prompting. Just one example helps the model to understand the task better than zero shot. Now let's use one shot prompting for translation. We will give one English to French example and then ask it to translate another sentence. So this is our complete prompt. So here example, translate this. I love learning languages, and here we given some translated sentence. Now translate this, and here we given input data component, that is we are studying artificial intelligence and we are expecting output through this output data component. So when you hit enter, the AI model given a response. So with just one example of how English is translated to a French, the model understands the task pattern and translated the next sentence correctly. So one shot makes it more guided than zero shot. Next, let's see one shot summarization. So we will first show one paragraph and its summary, and then we will give a new paragraph to summarize. So consider this prompt. So here in this prompt we have an example which contain paragraph and summary. So paragraph, many animals migrate during the winter to find warmer places. Birds in particularly fly thousands of miles. And here we given summary as animals move to warmer places in winter, especially birds. So now we given an instruction, that is now summarize this paragraph, where the input paragraph is solar energy is becoming more popular as people look for clean and renewable power sources. It is used in homes and businesses around the world, and here we given a output data component. So the when we hit enter, the AI model given a summarization. So here the model uses the format from the first example to understand how to shorten the second paragraph. So actually this shows how helpful one shot can be in summarization task. Now let's do a sentiment task again, but this time with an explanation. We will provide one example and then a new sentence to classify and explain. So here we have this complete prompt. So in this prompt we have an example which is sentence, I waited an hour for my food and it was cold, and we given sentiment as negative, and explanation also we given. So like long wait and cold food are both negative experiences. So now we given an instruction called now classify this sentence. We have an input, that is the package arrived early and in perfect condition. So when we hit enter, the sentiment we got from the AI model is positive. So here, and also we got an explanation like fast delivery and good conditions are positive things. So here the model learned to give both a label and an explanation based on the based on the single example. So actually this helps improve reasoning with one-shot prompting. So now let's try keyword extraction using one-shot prompting. So we will give one example sentence with keywords, then ask the model to extract keywords from another. Now consider this prompt. Example sentence: wind energy is growing due to climate change concerns. And we have keywords: wind energy, climate change. Now extract keywords from this sentence, which is an instruction component. So now the input is the electric vehicle market is expanding because of environmental awareness. So when we hit enter, the AI model gives the keywords like electric vehicle, environmental awareness, etc. So by seeing just one example, the model understands what kind of word to extract. So one shot helped it focus on the most important parts. So now we are going to see how to perform named entity recognition using one shot prompting. So we show one example and then ask the model to find entities in a new sentence. So here is our complete prompt. In our prompt we have example, which is sentence: Sundar Pichai spoke at the Google event in California. So we have people called Sundar Pichai, organizations called Google, places called California. Now we have given an instruction called now find entities in this sentence. So we given an input component called Tim Cook visited Apple headquarters in Cupertino, and we are expecting an output. So actually AI model gives this output like people, Tim Cook, organizations, Apple, places, Cupertino. So here the model learned how to extract places, people, and companies from the example and then did the same for the new sentence. So one shot makes the structure easier to follow. Now let's do a simple math problem using one shot prompting. So we will show one solved problem and then give a similar one to solve. So here is our complete prompt, which contains example, instruction, and input. So under example, if one book cost 40 rupees, how much do three book cost? We given 120. And also we given instruction. Now solve this, where the input is if one pencil cost 10 rupees, how much do seven pencils cost? And it given 70 rupees. So here the model saw how the math works in the example and they applied the same logic to the next problem. So actually one shot helps guide the pattern. Now we will classify email intent using one shot prompting. We will provide an example email and its label and then ask for the next one. So now let's consider the complete prompt. Example email. I can't reset my password. I need help immediately, which is labeled as complaint. Now we have an instruction called now label this email and we have an input called can you please tell me when my order will arrive, and we given an output indicator. So we got an output like query for this prompt. So the AI model learned how to label email intent by following the pattern in the first example. So here one shot works well in such real world use cases. So now let's try one shot now let's try one shot creative writing. So we will give one shot poem, then ask the model to write another poem with a different topic. So let's consider the complete prompt, which contains example, instruction, and input data, and one output indicator as well. So under example, so write a poem about the moon. So we given poem also like silent guardian in the sky, watching stars go drifting by, calm and cool, so far above, filling night with lights and love. Now write a poem about the sea, which is an instruction that we given to the AI model. So here we are expecting that by mimicking the same style, write a poem about the sea. So now we get the output. So here the first example helped the model to understand the tone and form of a short poem. Then it used that to write one about the sea. So one shot works beautifully for creative tasks too. So finally, let's do question answering using one shot prompting. We will show one example with a passage and a question. Then try a new one. So here is our complete prompt, which contains example, instruction, input, and one output indicator. So consider this complete prompt. So example, passage. Penguins are flightless birds that live in cold regions. Question: where do penguins live? Answer: cold regions. So here we given an example. Now, now try this. So we given a passage. Giraffes are the tallest land animals and they live in Africa. So we given question: where do giraffes live? And we given an output indicator. So the AI model replied Africa. So here the AI model also learned how the output format should be. Like it given a single answer like Africa. So here the model followed the same format from the first passage and give the correct answer. So one shot prompting helped it to focus on the right part of the text. So in upcoming videos, you are going to learn about few shot prompting. Thank you.